car in the 12 mile per gallon Tundra. We are off to pick up the project car. It's been so hard lately on Marketplace, Craigslist, because there's so much competition and people trying to grab cars, because cars are so expensive now and it's not like it used to be. So I maybe find like 1 or 2 decent cars a year now, and this one specifically, it's an older guy in his 70s, and he basically put something up on Marketplace, kind of in a bidding fashion, like, you know, make an offer type of thing, highest offer gets it. So knowing what it was, I basically just asked, you know, what's the highest offer, and this was probably 3 weeks ago, and so I offered something higher, and I didn't think he would hold it, but I guess there's still some decent people left in the world that enjoy talking on the phone and, you know, doing a deal and holding true to their word. So here I am 3 weeks later, going to pick up the car, hopefully. And the story behind the car is he basically got screwed by various repair shops and even 2 dealerships on what the issue was with the car. And I don't even know, I've never even seen the car, but the issue they're describing, I'm already certain that it's not what it is. So I think he said he spent like $3 grand with Lexus, and Lexus replaced all the ignition components, plug wires, plugs, coil packs, distributors, you know, all this stuff, because the car has a miss. Well, oh, they also replaced the ECU. Oh, it must be the ECU. Oh, it must be the spark plugs, you know. Oh, it must be the wires, etc. You know how the story goes. So then, you know, the problem wasn't solved. So then he went somewhere else, and I think smaller shop, and same thing, they don't work on it, they don't know, they don't want to deal with it. And then he went to Toyota. So now he went to a second Toyota dealership, and they concluded that the head gaskets are leaking. The car has a miss. It must be the head gaskets. Why not? Let's pull the heads, new head gaskets, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he didn't go through with it because they just want to get them out of there. They don't want to deal with them. And so that's how the car ended up on the Marketplace. So I'm going to go meet this guy and check out the car. Hopefully it is as nice as it looks, because otherwise I wouldn't be buying it. Typically you've got some criteria that you have to meet. You know, you have to decide what that criteria is in your head. For me, it's got to be like a clean body, not needing a lot or any paintwork or body work, and mechanically I don't really care. Like, I can deal with whatever mechanically. Maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you want something mechanically perfect that needs body repair. But the formula is simple. You know, whether you're dealing with a Toyota, Lexus, or Lamborghini, the concept is the same. You're trying to buy something that someone wants to get rid of, that something's wrong with, that you can either repair and keep yourself, or make a little profit, hopefully, and sell it. Now, the other problem is a lot of Toyotas and Lexuses, you know, in the 90s, 2000s, whatever, a lot of parts are just becoming obsolete and not available anymore, at least from the OEM and potentially aftermarket. So that's something else you have to think about if you need transmission parts, you know, odd sensors or whatever. It might not even be available. So then you're stuck with something you can't get parts for, and then it turns into maybe parting the car out, and on and on and on. So hopefully this is going to be an easy fix, and I'm going to put up for sale, and hopefully it can ride out in the sunset and someone else can enjoy it. But again, we will see. So yeah, let's get this car picked up. Made a pit stop here at Exquisite Auto Spa in Elm Grove, Wisconsin, where they do the finest detailing, ceramic coating, and paint restoration there is. We've picked up the project, and here it is. 97 LS 400. It's a California car. It's got only 120,000 miles. It's clean, clean, clean. Interior's minty. And all the doors are locked. Yeah. You don't really find these that often in this condition. But let me tell you what they think is wrong with it. It's got the factory fob. It's got 2 keys. And interior is very nice. Still's got the factory floor mats. The seats have been covered for who knows how long, and they are totally mint. You might see an ECU sitting here. That is because it has a miss, has an ignition miss. Check engine lights flashing, track lights flashing. The guy took it to his dealership. Well, not dealership. He took it to a small independent shop, and they told him, let's replace all the ignition components. So they sold him on distributor caps, rotors, wires, plugs, all that stuff. Okay. Well, still, there's a miss. You can see, I mean, it's running fine. It's got a little hiccup. And you can see the check engine lights on, tracks flashing. So that's kind of the first sign. So he took it to Lexus, the Lexus dealership. They didn't know what's wrong with it. They don't want to deal with it. So then he took it to a Toyota dealership. And you know what Toyota told him? They told him the motor's bad. Believe it or not. Timing belt was changed about 20,000 miles ago. And they told him it needs a new ECU. So, where is my sheet? Diagnosis sheet. Let me find my sheet that they gave him, and hang on a second. So here's his bill from Toyota, $1,500. Okay. So Toyota says the head gaskets are bad, the engine's bad. Okay. Engine is bad. 120,000 mile Toyota V8. Let's do some throttle body cleaning. Maybe that'll fix it. Sure. 70 bucks there. Why not? ECU. Oh, yeah. Well, here you go. We're going to charge you $300 to swap the ECU, which is literally a 10-minute process behind the glove box. $800. Sure. Pay it. Who cares? So Toyota gave up on it. Basically said, you know what? You gotta do. We'll replace the ECU. That doesn't work. We'll do the head gaskets. We'll take the heads off. Why not? Maybe that'll fix it. Nope. Performed additional diagnostics. So we replaced the ECU, and now the misfires moved to different cylinders. It was misfiring on 1, 2, and 8. They swapped the ECU, and now it's 4, 5, 6. Must be the head gaskets. Must be. From possible overheating. Well, the guy said he never overheated the car, so how could the head gaskets be bad? Alright, so here's our initial testing of the car. We've got track off light flashing, check engine light flashing. We have P0300s, which is like a random misfire code. Almost every cylinder has a code for misfiring. The car is a little rough, obviously, so it does have a misfire. First thing I'm going to do here is get it up to operating temperature. So we're going to check the coolant, make sure coolant's where it needs to be in the tank, and it actually tells you how to do it here. So through the filler hole, blah blah blah. So we've got the filler hole open, making sure coolant is flowing, and I mean the coolant is perfect. There's no contamination. The oil is perfect. There's no contamination from coolant. There's no visible leaking or pooling under the car of coolant. So that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to make sure it holds temperature, it doesn't overheat. There's no white smoke out of the exhaust, because as of right now, there's nothing. So typically, blown head gasket, you're going to get white puffy smoke, coolant smell. This is just complete fuel smell. It's just misfiring, and there's a lot of unburned fuel. So that's another thing that leads me to believe the head gaskets have nothing to do with this situation. So we'll just let this idle up here, get warmed up. My initial thoughts, we'll do another walk around here while we're doing it. My initial thoughts on this are either something ignition related, or somebody put plug wires back in incorrectly, or a mouse got a hold of something, some kind of wiring, etc. under the engine cover. I just can't get over these seats. Look at this. This is exactly what I was talking about last week in the junkyard. Just perfect seats. But as far as being head gasket related, again, I'm just not seeing it. So I'm going to go over kind of what Toyota said, if not already in the video before this. But we'll go over what the mechanics said. Toyota and all that. AC lights flashing. So that's fantastic. That's another problem to deal with. The back leather, also not bad. Usually this is completely cracked. Up here it is harder and a little bit dry, but it's not actually splitting it at the seams. Headliner's good. This just fell off. This little carpet patch. To do that back on. But overall, I mean, the car is clean. Clean, and this is the exact kind of car I would see in a junkyard. Exactly in this state. Just discarded like trash by somebody, because the dealership told them it's going to be impossible to replace, they're expensive. So the misfire codes, those don't really tell us much. They're just generic, telling you that the cylinder is misfiring. So after I get up to temp, next step I'll probably be to verify the plug wires are in the right locations. That would cause a misfire, and then I'll probably bore scope the cylinder bores and see what's going on, if anything, inside the cylinders, because OBD2 is not very specific. It just tells you generically what's wrong with the car, and that's it. So we'll keep going and see what happens. So got everything washed off like I like to do. Start with a nice clean plate, and pull off the cover, and I see evidence of mice. So there's a mouse nest in there. It smells like mice, which is is what I figured. The car sat for a long time, so the odds of mouse damage are high on the wiring harness, which is causing the misfire. So I'll have to blow some of that out or suck it out with a vacuum, get a scope in there and see if there's any wiring that might be damaged, etc. Looks like also, I don't know why there's like a ground from a Romex home electronics or home electrician thing. Oh no, that's not. That's the AC sensor. My bad. That's the wire for the AC something, pressure, temperature maybe. So yeah, we're still looking good. The cooling system needs to be bled, and we're still not getting any burning coolant out of the exhaust that would lead you to believe that it's a head gasket, as Toyota mentioned. It's just raw fuel at this point. So I think the probability is pretty high that we're dealing with some kind of mouse damage or wiring eaten, etc. So yeah, I'll just keep going with what we're doing here, and then update more video as needed. Power antenna that still works? Unbelievable. So let's discuss. Oh boy. I hate when that happens. Okay. Handy dandy hood strut holder fell. And so first thing, I found this. I don't know why all these wires are cut or ripped. That might have something to do with something. And the light went out, of course. Secondly, I filled up the coolant. I bled the system. That's all fine. It's pulling coolant in as it should. And third, my suspicion of a massive mouse infestation was true. As the engine was running, I could smell mice, essentially. So who knows how many wires are affected under there, or if the mice got to loom somewhere. We ended up getting all 8 cylinders on a misfire code, so I'm assuming something is compromised in there somewhere, triggering that code. So I'm going to try to blow all that out of there or vacuum it out. And really, those are the two things I found so far. I cleared the codes. The car ran fine-ish, and then obviously the codes came back, but I gave the car a nice wash so I could see the true beauty, and it's looking better every iteration here. Every video it's getting a little bit better. I really like this bluish gray color, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm liking it. What else? Not much else. It's an LS. I mean, it's a basic luxury sedan and no frills. Ooh, I want to discuss the Toyota findings because I just think they're absolutely hilarious. Here's our 122,000 mile car. Nakamichi radio, stereo. Heated seats, of course, that's good. It's got all the features we want. Interior needs a detail. Everything's kind of dirty, dusty. But look at the seat. Look at these seats. They're brand new. They've been covered for probably 20 years with that, I don't know, toilet bowl carpet. But they are absolutely perfect condition. I'm shocked. Steering wheel's good. We've got the California accordion sunshade here. That's attached to the windshield. Both sides kind of come together, Velcro together, give you some privacy. It's just totally California right there. All right, so recap. The guy took it to his local shop, whatever, independent shop. I don't know what happened. I didn't ask what happened, why he did this or whatever, but I'm assuming he took it here because he was having a misfire. So he took it to his little shop. So customer stated they just had it worked on. They replaced distributor caps, rotors, plug wire sets, spark plugs, valve cover gaskets. Car is still missing. So it looks like they just shotgun parts at it, assuming that it must be ignition related because it's missing. So that's fine. So he took it to Lexus. I don't know if they charged him anything or what. I didn't get that information. I think they just kind of said, we don't want to deal with it. It's too old. So he went to Toyota after this happened. Now keep in mind, Toyota doesn't have the 1UZ in any Toyota vehicle. They charged him $1,400, $1,499 here. So what did they say? So basically they said have to start with replacing ECU. So let's just jump right to the ECU. You know, we're going to charge you $200, $165 or something. I don't know what this is even for. Probably just diagnosis. So multiple cylinder misfires. You can find that out with an OBD reader. It tells you literally. Suspect bad engine ECU, common problem. Open ECU found capacitors leaking, corrosion. Great. Okay, that's a good start, but more diagnosis time. $330. Needed time to pull the ECU out and inspect. Perform additional diagnostics. So they replaced the ECU. This guy paid $824. So he paid $575 and then he paid $300 to install this ECU, which doesn't make sense because all you have to do is remove the glove box. So engine ECU replacement, replace the ECU. Let's do throttle body cleaning too, seafoam, throttle plate cleaner. You know, let's get another $70, $50 off this guy, sure. So then they're like, okay, well, the ECU didn't do anything, so the misfire is still there. So this is where it gets really, really whack. So after replacing the ECU, the misfires moved to different cylinders. Oh. It was misfiring on 1, 2, and 8. After swapping ECU, it now misfires on 3, 4, 5, and 6. Suspect engine head gaskets are bad from possible overheating. How do you go from a cylinder misfire to both head gaskets being bad? I don't get it. That's what I don't understand about. I get it. They don't want to deal with it. They have all their other cars they got to deal with. And these cars are getting older, so it's not like they can plug in TechStream and tell them exactly what sensors are bad or anything. Okay. So from possible overheating, well, the customer said he never overheated the car. This would warp cylinder heads and block and cause coolant to enter cylinders, causing misfires. Found no coolant in reservoir. Added a good amount of coolant and pressure tested system overnight. Coolant level dropped significantly. No external leaks found. This confirms coolant is entering cylinders. Engine is bad. Okay. So I don't know. When I got the car, I filled it up. I filled up the port on top of the thermostat housing. And then I filled up the coolant reservoir, let the engine get to operating temperature, and shut it off. A couple hours later, I came back. Coolant reservoir was down a little bit, so it was pulling coolant into the system. During my entire testing process, the car was obviously rich. The exhaust was getting hot. The rear mufflers were smoking. Fuel, all you could smell out the exhaust was fuel. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think Okay, well, there's no coolant burning in the exhaust. You would get a sweet smell. You get a ton of white smoke. There's none of that. And then I find things like this wiring that's just cut and an entire mouse nest under the intake manifold. It's like, man, I'm so irritated because this car could have easily ended up scrapped in a junkyard at an auction, and somebody might have even changed the head gaskets just because that's what the dealer said. Oh, well, they said it must be bad, so I'm going to pull the heads off. And then you have an engine with no heads, no top end, and half the parts and the bolts are gone. And the person loses interest, motivation, and then the car is just scrapped. So it's been a journey. The guy, he was a nice guy, older guy. I mean, he was smart. I told him, I'm buying this with the impression that it's not the head gaskets. It's something going to be easier. My other theory was, this could possibly be just as simple as the wires are on the wrong cylinders, because these are kind of difficult to map out correctly which wire goes to which coil pack, outlet. So I'll have to verify that first, because it might not even be a mouse nest. It might be some idiot forgot to, put the wire on the right whatever. Of course, these are all not OEM, so when he had these all replaced, it's all aftermarket crap. So, yeah. And then the AC blinking light earlier I had, that might be in here somewhere or somewhere else, because there's no way the AC would be not full with this low of miles. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken, but we'll see. So, yeah. So yeah, the coolant, they at least they use the red, Toyota red coolant, but it pulled, typically if there's a head gasket leak, it's not going to pull coolant back in the engine. It's just going to either be pushed out of here onto the ground. It's not going to be sucked back in, because if there's a hole or a leak in the coolant system, it can't have that vacuum to suck it back in once the engine cools. So, yeah, I don't know. But I still got to do something with this. I would love for somebody to buy this thing, because it's just not looking promising for the turbo kit. Man, this thing smells so good. It's just that perfect Lexus Toyota interior, leather interior from the early 90s that has that sweet, kind of just sweet, soft leather smell. It's just fantastic. Fantastic. In this, I rebuilt the whole cluster with brand new factory parts. So I bought these parts like 12, 13 years ago, new old stock, brand new, and I saved it until this time, these needles and everything, because obviously you can't buy those brand new, but those are factory brand new needles. So that's how this is going. I've got my new OEM coolant caps. Obviously there's two. There's one on the radiator for some reason, and then there's one up here. I don't know why. It's just how they did it. But typically, like the coolant, the cap should be at the highest level. But maybe because like the coolant reservoir is lower than this, they needed a second one. I don't know. But yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it. This should be a pretty easy project. I just gotta get all that stuff out of there and get a borescope in the intake manifold and kind of see what's going on with that. If I can see any visible wires eaten, like knock sensor wires or other harness wires in there. I'm assuming that's probably it. So, yep. Until next time. Stay tuned. If you want to buy the car, let me know. Everything's for sale. Everything. ISF's for sale. 600 horsepower, supercharged, E85. Fantastic car. Super reliable. I did the whole front cover. Timing chains, all brand new. So, alright, that's it. See ya. So that's it, guys. Car's finished, up for sale. Runs perfectly. Nice and quiet. So issue number one was this wiring was cut somehow. That's for the AC, so we fixed the AC flashing light. AC works now. And then two, there was a giant mouse nest in the intake manifold. Luckily they did not compromise the knock sensor wires, but we cleaned all that out. That wasn't the cause of the issue though. Just do a nice little walk around here. See it in all its glory. I really like this color. It's like a seafoam green almost. Oh well. And then look at this, the driver's seat that I am crazy about, because it looks like it's a year old. So I'll tell you the issue. It was the ECU. Toyota, first of all, they never removed the customer's original ECU to verify that it had internal damage. You can obviously unplug the ECU and then plug a new one in without removing the actual ECU itself. But they never opened up his ECU, and then the ECU they bought from a reputable company was never rebuilt. They basically just sold them a junkyard ECU, which had the same problems as the original ECU. So I repaired both ECUs. Now I have an ECU to sell, and then we have an ECU that is perfect for the car. So that's it. The story, short-lived story of the LS is over, and someone else will be able to enjoy it. If I didn't have so many other cars, I might keep it, but it's really, I mean, it shows its age. Like, it's not a 430, and it's definitely not a 460. You're just faced, you know, like I said in previous videos, if you buy another car, or if you buy someone's car that they say is mint and perfect and all that good stuff, you're gonna have to fix all the same issues. So this one needs motor mounts, just like my 430 I just did. The exhaust, it's obviously old, it's a 97, so the exhaust is starting to rot a little bit at the center section, just a little tiny bit of a leak. The tires are like 20 years old. I think they're made in 05, so those need replacing. It just needs a lot of little stuff like that. But someone will enjoy this car. They will really appreciate the quality, the build quality, and how clean this one is. And my job here is done until I find the next. So thanks for watching this brief video on the LS. That's how we like to do it.